And the Rockets as Houston tries to become the first team to sweep a four-game regular season series against the Warriors since Steve Kerr took over back in 2014. The Warriors will be shorthanded tonight with Kevin Durant sitting out with an ankle sprain he suffered in a loss to the Suns on Sunday. KD didn't practice yesterday, will sit out in Houston. Beyond that, he is considered day-to-day. They will face the hottest team in the league tonight. Houston's won 9 straight by an average of 8 a game, while the Warriors are 4-5 during that same stretch, including losses to 3 sub-500 teams, Miami, Orlando, and Phoenix. And yet, they're still in first place in the Western Conference. They are still the team to beat, obviously, in the minds of just about anybody who watches the NBA. What over the next few weeks would you have to see to make you concerned about their ability to defend?
Well, I think for them is they are having problems defending the 1-5 pick and roll. Cousins is not the slightest of foot guy as a center, Sekou and Matt. But I also look at them as if it starts to be a lot of turnovers for them. Those are the two things for me. But those are still two areas that they can shore up, because I don't know if there's, other than maybe the Houston Rockets, no disrespect to Steven Adams, is there a center that has the size that Draymond Green that you couldn't put at the 5 that could really take advantage of them down on the block? Capella a little bit. They don't go to Adams enough, even though he's gotten better. Yeah. So I think even the pick and roll situation, if they can keep the game close, they go to Draymond at the 5, Iguodala at the 4, Durant at the 3, and obviously with the Splash Brothers, I think they can shore that up. It's turnovers for me. Yeah. That's the one thing I think if they start to keep turning over the basketball these last few games, that's you got to have some.
I agree. Athletic pick and roll guys, the roll men, that could be a problem for Golden State more so than a big like Steven Adams, as strong as he is.
Yeah, and I think it's the activity that I haven't seen from them defensively, Smitty and Matt, that has made me just a little concerned. Mm-hmm. They've had some slippage, obviously, from the level they were at last year. And they weren't as good last year as they were the year before. It's a gradual thing where you start watching your defensive prowess kind of go away. I don't know that it's a one-man fix. I don't think there's one guy that changes that. I think it has to be kind of a collective thing. And I think if you are going to look to one place to find that spark that gets you going defensively again, it has to be Draymond Green. Mm-hmm. And Draymond has to be a guy who takes on that challenge to make sure their defensive principles are as sharp as ever. Because if there's one place you're going to find that you start fraying, you're so good offensively. You're galactic offensively when you're at your best. But the lockdown defense is what made you the championship team you are, and that, to me, was really predicated on Draymond.
And it was just this week, Draymond Green was getting on everybody about blaming Cuz for their defensive troubles, basically saying, look, we're not bringing it on a nightly basis.
And I think Matt and Sekou, we've all watched this team for the last 4 years, and we nitpick because, wow, their defense is not what it used to be. I even think their second unit is not what we've been accustomed to. So I think that's another area for me is saying they don't have that punch that they used to have coming off the bench like they used to. But still, with all that being said, who's picking against the Golden State Warriors other than the Houston Rockets, OKC, and other teams? But us as the media, we still have the Golden State Warriors.
They haven't even been very good offensively here lately. Since the All-Star break, 20th in the league in offensive rating, 18th in defensive rating. They've been kind of an average NBA
4-5 after the All-Star break. But I guess when you go on a 13-2 run before the All-Star break, it gives you a little cushion to still be in first place.
Absolutely. And we are, as you guys know, we are in the dog days of the NBA season, particularly for teams who have been through the playoffs, who aren't particularly worried about seeding necessarily.
What do we call them if they've been there 4 times? It can't be dog days with Warriors. What is it? They got to be.
I don't know what's after that.
Yes.
What comes next? I don't know. They're in that, whatever that is, the doldrums in the month before the postseason. And I know you'd like to be playing perfectly, but they've still got 4 weeks from today till the regular season ends. They've got to get through all that stretch before they can even worry about defending their title again. As things stand, as I mentioned, they are still first in the Western Conference. Denver pulled it within a game last night. Rockets 3.5 back of the Warriors and 2.5 back of Denver for that number 2 spot. In your mind, are the Rockets still the most formidable contender to take down Golden State in the postseason?
I think they are, because they have the most present blueprint of how to challenge them. I mean, up 3-2 last year in the conference finals. That was as real as it's gotten for the Warriors since they lost in the finals, lost that 3-1 lead to Cleveland. So, to me, Houston has not only the DNA and the belief in themselves, but they have a roadmap to at least push the Warriors to that point. The problem is we haven't seen them push them over that edge. And until I see it with my own eyes, I'm not going to believe there's a team out there that's built to do exactly what the Rockets think they are built to do.
And I think you said it best, Sekou. It has to be a team that can score against them because we forget about their defense, even though it hasn't been great, and a team that can defend them. And I look at the Houston Rockets still missing that one guy other than P.J. Tucker that can go out there and say, hey, you guard Durant, you guard Clay, or you guard Steph. I love Chris Paul. I think he's going to give the effort, and I love P.J. Tucker. But I don't know if they have a third guy that could defend other than Clint Capella at the rim. But there's not a lot of plays at the rim for the Golden State Warriors unless you're posting up Cousins, which I think he's pretty good. I look at the OKC Thunder. If Paul George is playing at that MVP level and Russell Westbrook is putting pressure on you, Steven Adams, not the third option, but I think they have others. I think it's got to be the Rockets would be my first choice, 1A, and then the Thunder, 1B.
I'd probably have to go the same. The OKC as a matchup is intriguing if Paul George is back to where he was just a couple of weeks ago at an MVP type level. People were throwing him in that conversation. I still don't know if it would be enough to beat Golden State. And
I like to pick up the Morris twin because then if they play small ball with Draymond, you can play him at the 5.
Yep.
I like some of their pieces to kind of match up with them.
Yep. Houston's defense has been better since the All-Star break, number 5 in the league, but still, that's regular season ball, and that's not matching up against Golden State on a nightly basis. As for the Thunder, you mentioned they are back